Everybody thought he was a useless, disgusting, dumb 32-year-old, but it turns out he was trained by S-rank adventurers and can defeat everyone with a single punch. The episode starts with Rick in the middle of a tough training session. He thinks he's about to die, but it turns out his seniors are preparing him for the adventurer exam. At the guild, a group of people are registering for the F-rank exam. Elisa, the receptionist, helps everyone and is surprised when she sees Rick, who used to work there with her. Rick is nervous because he's 32 years old and most adventurers start in their teens. When Elisa asks what he's been doing for the last 2 years, he says he's been training in the mountains. A drunk man shows up and starts bothering Elisa. Rick steps in to calm him down and holds him back. The man suddenly passes out, and Rick assumes he was just too drunk. Rick gets his exam ticket, notices it has an unlucky number, and becomes even more nervous. Outside, he meets his senior Renette. Back in the guild, people recognize the passed-out drunk as a former A-rank adventurer and notice a handprint on his armor. Elisa realizes Rick must have knocked him out. The physical test begins. People are surprised Rick is taking the exam at his age. Each candidate places their hand on a crystal to measure their mana. Rick's mana is rated F-, and people laugh at him. After he walks away, the crystal breaks. Next is the offensive strength test. Candidates hit a slime bag to measure their power. Rick remembers his master Brost, who had him punch a golden slime, something as hard as a dragon's fang, 50,000 times. During the test, a boy named Freed uses 3rd level pyromagic. It looks weak, but the judges praise him. Rick thinks Freed compressed his magic for indoor use. When Rick's turn comes, the examiner tells him to give up, but Rick recalls his training and smashes the bag. Everyone is shocked. Freed is upset Rick stole his moment but believes he'll make up for it in the next test. Then comes a defense test. Rick successfully blocks a 4th level spell, so the examiner uses a 5th level cyclone spell.
English or Spanish?
Baby, you got something in your nose. Sniffing that K, did you feel the hole?
Rick still manages to block it. Sylvester Selnia, a top royal knight, senses the impact and rushes to the scene. He learns Rick used to be a receptionist and is surprised by what Rick managed to do. Rick then takes the written test and later meets with Renette. He feels confident about it, but unsure about the rest of the exam. Freed approaches, angry that Rick outshined him.
I wanted to make everyone else there jealous of me, but you had to ruin my magnificent debut!
Rick doesn't remember his name, which upsets him more. Freed's sister, Angelica, a second-class royal knight, shows up and challenges Rick to a duel. He picks up the glove she throws, accidentally accepting. At the arena, Renette explains that second-class knights are about B rank level. Rick is nervous, but Renette reminds him of his training and that they are part of the strongest party, the Orichalcum Fist. Angelica boosts her speed and attacks. Rick easily dodges, surprised at how slow she seems. Angelica tries again using Blink Step, but Rick still avoids her. She begins to question his strength. During one attack, she trips on a rock and spins out, narrowly missing Rick. He sees how strong her strike was and realizes he may have underestimated her. Angelica pretends she did it on purpose and attacks again at triple speed. Rick still dodges. On her next attempt, she trips again, and Rick's counter misses. A huge crater forms, and Angelica realizes she would have been seriously hurt if the hit landed. She gives up, saying Rick won for avoiding her blink step.
You are a failure! You are a failure! You can never make it!
When Rick reminds her of the deal that the loser becomes the winner's servant, she quickly runs away. After the duel, Rick wonders if he passed the exam. Renette tells him Brost and the others are coming to see how he did. Rick panics, knowing their visit probably means more trouble. Rick waits anxiously as mana is sent into the adventurer exam cards. Red means failure, blue means a pass. His card flickers between both before finally settling on blue, confirming he passed. As he leaves with Renette, they're approached by Raster, a noble from the Northern Kingdom. He tries to flirt with Renette and mocks Rick for being old and low-ranked. Rick defends himself, saying Renette is his girlfriend. Raster laughs, revealing he's an A-rank adventurer who reached that level at 14 and will be overseeing the second part of the exam. Freed and Angelica, his younger siblings, complain to Raster about Rick. Raster decides to get revenge on their behalf. When Rick arrives for the next exam, a mock battle, he's relieved to meet his assigned examiner, Lynx, a fellow late-starting adventurer who encourages him, but soon, Lynx is removed and replaced by Raster. Known for destroying F-rank hopefuls, Raster is feared among the candidates. Before the test begins, Freed tricks Rick into sitting on a trapped chair, teleporting him to a beach. There, Rick is surrounded by black-clad attackers claiming they're ordered to eliminate him. He suspects Raster is behind it. Just as things get dangerous, His seniors, Brost, Miz, and Alice, arrive. They easily overpower the attackers, revealing themselves as top-tier adventurers from the legendary Orichalcum Fist Party. Back at the exam center, Renette deals with Freed, and Lynx, now free, warns Rick to stay away. But Rick decides to confront Raster directly. Inside, Raster begins tormenting the other examinees as Rick enters, ready to face him head-on. Adolf uses his stat vision ability during the mock battle, and is shocked to see that Rick has maxed out every stat except mana. Elisa meets Renette, and is surprised to learn she's part of Rick's elite party. Raster begins the match confidently, expecting to crush Rick like any other F-ranker. But Rick calmly observes his opponent's moves without reacting. Brost explains that Rick trained with 100-kilogram ankle weights while dodging demonic snakes. Miz trained his magic, and Renette handled his agility. Despite Raster's powerful elemental magic, Rick remains unharmed thanks to his brutal training under Brost, Miz, and Renette. As Raster grows increasingly frustrated by Rick's calm and precise counters, despite Raster's overwhelming mana and flashy spells, Rick realizes that his attacks lack efficiency due to his reliance on talent over real combat training. This gap in practical experience becomes more obvious with every exchange. Raster scoffs at the legend and summons a giant tree golem using earth magic to finish Rick, but Rick escapes the binding using a basic air shot spell, one he claims to have practiced over 100 million times. Everyone is shocked by the number, and Brost explains that Rick used space-time magic to make that possible. Raster unleashes his strongest spell, but Rick's air shot breaks through, shattering the golem and knocking Raster out. The arena falls silent, stunned that an F-rank adventurer defeated one of the strongest A-rank examiners. After the match, Rick rejoins his team, who congratulate him. Raster appears with his siblings and swears he'll be Rick's examiner again for the promotion exam. Angelica quietly bows before leaving, confusing Rick. Later, Rick and Renette wait for the results. She's surprised he's calm, but he tells her he just remembered something important. As a child, Rick read about the hero Yamato who dreamed of defeating the Kaiser Alcipiette to claim a wish-granting treasure. Inspired, Rick shared his dream with his parents, but they didn't support him. His father called it a fairy tale, and his mother worried it was too dangerous. A doctor later told Rick he had a rare, unactivated skill like Yamato's, giving him hope. Rick waited years, growing depressed as nothing happened. Friends suggested becoming an adventurer without skills, but Rick wanted to follow his dream. He gave up and worked as a guild receptionist for 14 years, unhappy and still hoping for his skill. One day, his friend Zaid became an adventurer, sparking Rick's jealousy. After a monster attacked the city, Rick met Renette, an S-rank adventurer who showed him his age limited his mana growth. Despite this, she invited him to dinner, and Rick felt hopeful. When a dragon attacked, Rick bravely faced it, triggering his hidden skill. His mana overflowed, and he defeated the dragon, shocking everyone. After waking from a week's unconsciousness, Renette invited Rick to join their party, encouraging him to chase his dream despite his age. Lynx congratulates Rick on passing the exam and plans to celebrate once he's out of the hospital. Following Rick's directions, Lynx ends up at the Demon Lord's castle, confused about the location and why he was told to wear armor. Rick explains it's for his safety. Inside, Lynx meets Renette and Alice, who fires lightning at him until Rick stops her. Renette punishes Alice, and Rick agrees to play with her to keep her calm. Lynx explores the castle and meets Miz, who lets him test a rocket launcher. Lynx is stunned by its power. Later, he meets Brost in his private library and asks to train with him. Brost agrees, seeing Rick's determination in Lynx. During training, Lynx falls off a cliff but survives. Renette saves him, and Brost drags him back to continue training. At dinner, Lynx teases Rick about his feelings for Renette and encourages him to make a move. Brost explains Rick's hidden skill is powerful but can only activate under special conditions. They reveal their mission is to defeat the Kaiser and ask if Lynx knows anything about 6 magical stones that lead to the source spiral. He agrees to help. Rick later asks for advice on how to support Renette, but gets laughed at. The next day, they go to take a quest, but need another A rank to qualify. The guildmaster assigns Ray, a confident girl who wants a high-level mission. During the quest, she mocks Rick's F rank, but is shocked when he punches a wyvern mid-air. Brost and Alice eliminate others. When a red wyvern appears, Ray panics, but Rick defeats it with a single punch. Inspired, she decides to become stronger. Meanwhile, the party finds one of the 6 magic stones and locates the next one in Heratopia. 400 years ago, King Alexander Heratopia built a colosseum and became its undefeated champion, with 10,000 wins using only his fists. Rick and the group arrive in Heratopia, and Brost jokes that fighting Alexander would destroy the country. While searching for info on the 6 jewels, locals flee at the sight of them. Before heading to Town Hall, they save a girl named Militia from a thug named Gold. Brost tries to scare him, but Gold challenges Brost and defeats him instantly. Brost shows them a jewel, and they recall seeing it before but can't remember where. They're interrupted by a parade for the Fist King tournament. Gold points out the reigning champ, Kellen Wolf, who has a magic jewel on his belt. Rick and the group confront Kellen at his gym. Brost demands the jewel, claiming it belonged to a fallen comrade. Kellen believes him but refuses to give it up unless they win the tournament. Brost agrees and assigns Rick to the West qualifiers while he enters the East. Gold is hired as Brost's guide. Rick takes a test to enter the qualifiers and learns he must fight in a mock battle. His opponent turns out to be Angelica. She knows she can't win, but refuses to surrender. Rick keeps sweeping her legs with a new technique until she finally gives up. Later, Angelica cries and Rick comforts her. She became a fighter 4 months ago and thinks Rick can't win the 40 matches needed in a week. Renette reveals they've already registered all 40 in the next 4 days. Rick's first match is against Grit Albert, rumored to use illegal gear. Despite a body check, Grit hides an impact stone in his shoe. He lands a hit but breaks his own hand. Rick tells him to train harder and finishes him off with a shockwave punch. Angelica easily wins her 40th match, officially passing the qualifiers. She tells Rick he can only fight once per venue per day, and with the next one 30 kilometers away, she thinks he can't make it in time, even by carriage. But Rick decides to run. Renette helps Angelica follow him by rooftop jumping, scaring her, but keeping up. After 4 days, Rick also wins all 40 matches. Angelica feels hopeless about her chances in the league, now that both Rick and Brost are competing. She asks Renette if she ever gets tired of following Rick, but Renette admits she has real feelings for him. Meanwhile, Rick meets Snape, chairman of the West League, who knows of Rick's speed record. Rick figures out Snape was once a fighter, and Snape admits he won a tournament 20 years ago, but retired young. He says his company will send a fighter to the tournament. At Militia's restaurant, she warns Rick that Snape may be connected to the underworld, and uses his sponsor slot to enter fighters. Angelica and Renette promote the tournament in bunny suits to attract bets. A drunk man harasses them, but gets beaten up. Rick arrives, stunned by their outfits, especially Renette's. At the gym, Kelvin is impressed that Brost passed qualifiers in 2 days and Rick in 4. Angelica is upset that Rick reacted differently to her outfit. During the league, Angelica wins her early matches, but in her next fight against Taylor, she struggles. Her lightning attacks don't work because Taylor's defense is too strong. She keeps pushing, draining her stamina, and ends up getting knocked out and losing. Rick approaches to console her, but she walks off without saying a word. When he keeps pressing her, she finally breaks and reveals that she's engaged to Snape. A year ago, he helped her family financially in exchange for her hand in marriage. She plans to defeat his fighter to cancel the wedding, but it's his brother Geith, someone too strong for her to beat. Rick offers to train Angelica, tying weights to her and tethering her to himself while running. He explains the goal is to adapt her body to high-speed movement. She barely survives the day, but Rick says it was just a warm-up. On day 5, she runs away, but he finds her quickly. Instead of scolding her, he shares that he also wanted to quit during training, even dying multiple times before Brost revived him and told him to weigh regret against suffering. Inspired, Angelica continues. She admits she's never fit the noble mold and wants to support her family by fighting. Rick suggests she combine swordsmanship with hand-to-hand techniques and calls Renette to train her. In her next match, Angelica instantly defeats Silva and continues attacking due to being stuck in training mode. Brost, Alice, and Miz return, and the group discusses the upcoming tournament. Angelica notices Geith won't face strong opponents until the finals, realizing Snape plans to bet against him later for massive profits. But since she faces him in round 2, she intends to ruin the plan. The tournament begins. Geith easily defeats his opponent, but Rick feels his movements are unnatural. Kellen also wins using his sense of smell and strategy. On the day of Angelica's match, Snape sits with Rick. Angelica tells Geith she'll show him her training progress. He mocks her, claiming he never trained. As the match starts, her first strike does nothing. Then she drops her strengthening magic and lands a blow that finally makes Geith bleed. Snape is shocked Angelica hurt Geith, whose body couldn't be cut even by blades. Renette explains she used a mana manipulation technique mixed with mana reflex inversion, which stores and releases mana in bursts. Though incomplete in training, Angelica mastered her own version after enduring Rick's brutal regimen. Geith, annoyed, punches the ground and blinds her with dust, landing surprise attacks. She tries Blink Step, but he copies it instantly. Snape tells Rick Geith once defeated him, ending his career. People suspect Snape of fixing matches, but he says no one expected a slot fighter to win, so he bet everything on Geith. Geith mocks Angelica and her family and beats her mercilessly until Rick interrupts by throwing a shoe. After, Angelica lies injured but stable. Later, she cries, thinking she should accept Snape's proposal. Rick apologizes, saying he'll show her what she can still achieve. In their match, Rick lands precise chi attacks that injure Geith internally. Despite Geith's strength, Rick stays unharmed using body manipulation. He holds back to fight at Angelica's level, then shows her what she can become by increasing his power. Geith goes berserk, uses steel armor, but Rick breaks it. Tired and confused, Geith transforms into a dragon. Rick struggles, but shows Angelica the results of training. He defeats Geith using her own technique, winning the match and proving pure effort beats raw talent. Angelica thanks Rick for his lessons, promising to become an even stronger fighter in the future. Snape admits he's surprised by the outcome but says part of him wanted Geith to lose because he ended his career. Though he lost, Snape feels oddly good and tells Angelica he truly liked her, not just for her noble status. The next match is about to begin, and the old man reminds Kelvin that his lifelong goal has been to train the world's strongest warrior, and he believes Kelvin is the one to fulfill it. Kelvin's opponent is Brost, the reigning champion. The crowd roars as Rick realizes Brost is beloved. Kelvin launches attacks, but Brost blocks them with ease, countering with shockwaves. As the battle heats up, Geith suddenly appears, rampaging from his berserk dragon blood. Kelvin knocks him away with one hit, shocking everyone. The announcer postpones the match. Later, Rick finds Kelvin training alone. Kelvin admits he never used his full strength in the past, faking close matches to make the crowd excited after hearing the gym was losing popularity due to his dominance. He now wants to go all out. During the rematch, Kelvin uses high-level spells and elemental magic, even summoning a meteor. Brost shatters it with raw strength. Kelvin, cheered by the crowd, uses all his skills and finally moves Brost from his spot. Though exhausted, he says it was the most fun he's ever had. Brost finishes the match with one blow. After the fight, Rick and Angelica congratulate Brost. Rick mentions he just needs to withdraw from the match to get the magic jewel, but Brost says he's looking forward to their fight and walks away, while Angelica notices Rick is freaking out. Kelvin reads the newspaper, realizing everyone hates him for deceiving them. He asks the old man if he's okay with it, who reassures him everything will be fine and asks about Kelvin's last move. Kelvin says he was too absorbed to remember and feels like he's lost everything, wondering why the old man hasn't abandoned him. The old man replies, Kelvin is like a son and can still bounce back. Brost arrives, asks about Kelvin's injuries, and offers to heal him, but Kelvin wants to experience the pain and says he's excited to watch the final match. Meanwhile, Rick locks himself away, refusing to fight, afraid of dying. Snape urges him, reminding him how many people worked hard on the tournament and how fans await the finals. Angelica says Brost can revive him if he dies, but Rick says death is traumatic, something she can't understand, and she walks away disappointed. Ms. explains Brost trained Rick to find a worthy rival since no one else could match Brost's strength. Flashbacks show Rick's harsh training and encouragement from Renette, and Rick decides to fight. The final match draws a large crowd. Nervous but motivated by Renette, Rick battles Brost with incredible speed and skill. They exchange rapid blows, impressing everyone. Brost acknowledges Rick's strength and resolve, saying he's glad Rick endured his training. Rick wants Brost to see him as an equal, and aims to give him the fight he's always wanted. Now a full party member, Brost prepares to tell Rick the history behind the Orichalcum Fist. We go back 46 years and see Brost as a child, different from other orcs. He reads human books and learns their language, but he's too strong to understand others through fighting. When he tries to help, they treat him like a god and avoid him. After a storm, he finds his tribe dead but feels no sadness, realizing how alone he is. One day, he's attacked by a man named Reinhardt, who's shocked that Brost can talk and read. Brost shares his story, and Reinhardt encourages him to chase the dream he gave up on. He reveals he once fought with the hero Yamato and even wrote the book Brost read. They form the Orichalcum Fist together. Brost meets strong allies but is still searching for an equal. He trained Rick for 2 years, and now Rick gives him the brawl he always wanted. Their fight grows intense, both of them punching each other relentlessly. Rick activates his banned skill, stunning Brost as the other party trained Rick for this in secret. They clash with final blows. Both collapse, but Brost stands briefly before falling too. Rick wakes up 3 days later and is told Brost considers him the real winner. They retrieve the second jewel, and Rick learns Reinhardt is immortal due to a skill. Brost is no longer alone. Angelica asks Brost to train her, vowing to surpass Rick. The group races back to the castle. Rick knows becoming an adventurer was only the beginning. His next dream awaits. This is where the anime ends. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.